Mr. Babin, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for being here, you witnesses. As one of the co-chairs of the House Border Security Caucus, I believe this hearing is vital. Thank you for being here. Enforcing our maritime border security, disrupting international drug and human smuggling activities, protecting American waters from illegal foreign fishing, it is all vital for our nation. And I appreciate all the work that the Coast Guard is doing in this space. Admiral Burdian, the first question I would like to ask is I represent part of the Gulf Coast in southeast Texas. Many folks in the shrimping industry have been feeling a lot of pain lately. In fact, they're having a problem keeping the lights on their boats. Foreign shrimpers, however, are apparently having a heyday. They've been dumping shrimp into the American economy, driving prices down, harming the livelihood of individuals in my district and several other districts that are surrounding me. And I understand that you are not responsible for trade policies, but I'd like to know if you've seen an uptick in illegally harvested shrimp and if you're aware of the impact that it is having on American shrimpers.
Thanks for the question, Mr. Babin. We routinely patrol the maritime boundary line in the Gulf of Mexico to counter illegal fishing in the U.S. EEZ. I will say the majority of our work thus far has been with regard to snapper, primarily Mexican launches crossing the maritime boundary line. Though in advance of the hearing, I was made aware of this particular issue and will coordinate with our partners in NOAA who primarily oversee the imports to discuss with them, and we can get back to you on that, sir.
You sure? That would be fine. I have several other questions I'd like to ask you, but that is an acute problem for our American shrimpers, and I would hope that the Coast Guard would at least be aware of that. The entire country and then likely the entire world is paying attention to what's happening at our southwest border, and our open border policies have been received as an open invitation for millions, almost 10 million illegal immigrants to simply show up, sign a few documents, download an app, and then be released into the interior of our country. It is my belief that the White House and the administration is directly responsible for the situation at our southern border. The Secretary of Homeland Security has been complacent at best throughout the last few years, in my opinion, and completely failed in his duty to protect the nation's interior, even saying our borders are secure, he has operational control, when nothing could be further from the truth. I'm just curious whether the White House or anyone else in this administration, Homeland Security, DOT, Department of Defense, anyone else, has ever pressured the Coast Guard on its migrant interdiction mission. What sort of conversations have you had with the administration officials on your migrant interdiction mission? And has the mission or the associated policies changed since January of 21? Just quickly.
Sir, we routinely have discussions with partners in interagency and policy discussions up the chain through DHS and with the White House with regard to maritime migration. Those discussions surround how best to support the Coast Guard in these life-saving missions and what resources we need to continue to coordinate with our partners in the Department of Homeland Security and with international and interagency partners in the vertically integrated government.
All right. How much of an increase in trafficked fentanyl and fentanyl precursors have you seen? There are three precursors to fentanyl. I serve on the House Cartel Task Force, where we have been studying the cartel business plan and how they operate in the United States, how they make money, et cetera. The cartel's fentanyl is made up of a number of precursors that largely come from China. Does your drug interdiction mission consider precursors as a priority, either directly from Chinese sources or possibly smuggled through other foreign flagged vessels?
So those precursors are primarily moving, as I understand it, in containerized cargo into ports in other countries such as Mexico. We have worked with our partners in Samar and Sedena to really build some capacity to understand governance in ports and get after that issue. We are not seeing finished fentanyl move in the maritime, with very, very minor exceptions, sir. But I will say the cartels, whether it's Mexican cartels or cartels in Colombia are operating agnostic to product. And so every kilo of cocaine the Coast Guard interdicts serves to undermine the profit motivation and undermine the financial resource of these transnational criminal actors and the violence and instability they sow in the region.
And that's exactly what needs to happen. We have to bust up their profit motive and their business model. Thank you very much, and I yield back, Mr. Chairman.